I'm building a 100K video agency from zero, no case studies, no existing leads, no client base, just a blank slate, and I'm sharing everything in real time. So in the last videos, I showed how I picked one of the toughest niches, and I laid out my plan to create case studies that get me paid while also teaching me about the industry. Those insights will shape my marketing, my messaging, and my offer. Now, in this video, I'll show you what happened in week 2, how I've taken those early research calls and turned them into leads and meetings and even into my first 25K project. And I'll break down the lessons that made it possible so you can apply them in your own business as well. So last time I had 6 leads and 3 meetings. Now, just 1 week later, I've got 8 leads and 6 meetings booked and 3 already completed. The most exciting part, I've not only gathered valuable insights from decision makers in the finance industry, I've also turned one of those early research calls into my first paid case study for around $25,000. Not bad for week 2. But let's rewind for a moment. So the rules of the game are clear. I can't use any of my old case studies or leads. So after picking my niche, I had to build everything from scratch. So to begin with, I tapped into my existing network. I set up cold outreach campaigns and aimed to get conversations with people inside the finance space. The first 2 meetings were with CEOs and founders. My goal wasn't to pitch them video. It was to use my ideal client discovery questions and my master the meeting framework to uncover their biggest pain points. That approach serves 3 purposes. The first is language and messaging, so I get to hear firsthand about what's keeping those decision makers up at night. That language becomes my copy, my messaging, and the foundations of a killer offer. The second is positioning. So by asking smart questions and digging into their challenges, I'm positioning myself as a strategic partner, not a vendor. This is where the doctor frame comes in, which I'll explain in just a moment. And the third is case study creation. So if I find a good fit, I can propose solving a real business problem and turn it into a project and document it as a case study while getting paid. And now I can confirm that it's working. So not only did the decision makers turn up, they gave me a ton of value, and one of those conversations has turned into a $25,000 deal. And then another one of the conversations is scheduled for a follow-up next month and is also looking likely. So how was I able to close a premium project so quickly without leads, without case studies, and in a new niche? Well, it comes down to 3 key principles that every video business owner needs to master if they want to move past low budget work and start working with premium clients. Okay, so lesson 1 is don't lead with video, lead with results. Because if you're just trying to sell video, you're dead in the water and you'll never be able to scale. So when I first started my production company over a decade ago now, I made the same mistake almost every creative makes. Every conversation started with some version of just asking, do you need a video? If they said yes, then I was in business. If not, then I'd just move on. And that approach instantly put me in the vendor box. I wasn't standing out. I wasn't creating demand. I was just another videographer offering a service, and it kept me stuck on the feast or famine roller coaster. I was just reactive. I was waiting for people who already thought that they needed a video and then hoping that they'd pick me over the next freelancer. So what's the alternative? Well, this time around, I'm approaching it differently. I don't lead with video, I lead with results. I don't talk about cameras, creative, like production ideas or styles. I go in curious about the outcomes that matter most to the client. And that's exactly how this 25K deal came about. The client didn't come to me asking for a video. Instead, I went to them, uncovered a business challenge, and then because I framed myself around results, not deliverables, I was able to connect their challenge to a solution. And then video just happened to be part of that solution. When you do it this way, video becomes the byproduct, not the starting point. So the real starting point is always, what is the problem that needs solving and what results are we creating? So if you're still hoping someone just says, yeah, we need a video, then flip the script. Stop being a videographer waiting to be hired, start being a strategist, uncovering problems and prescribing solutions. That's what gets you out of the low ticket gigs and into premium deals. Okay, so lesson 2 is to use the doctor frame. So how do you actually make that shift from video first to results first? Well, by using what I call the doctor frame. So imagine walking into a doctor's office. They don't start pitching treatments. They don't let you run the appointment. They ask you questions. They run diagnostics. And only after they fully understand your problem do they prescribe a solution. And that's how I run my calls. And it's the complete opposite of how most creatives handle their sales. Most videographers treat calls like casual chats. They let the client lead, they answer questions, and they pitch their services. The problem with that, well, you lose authority instantly. You're not the trusted advisor anymore, you're just the order taker. The doctor frame, on the other hand, flips that dynamic, and it positions you as the expert who diagnoses before prescribing. And that positioning allows you to talk to any business, even if they're not actively thinking about video. That's exactly how I got traction in the finance niche. So none of the CEOs were actively saying we need a videographer, but they were thinking about their real problems like investor relations, brand reputation, talent acquisition, trust with clients. And because I went in with the doctor frame and I was curious, asking questions and uncovering problems, I was able to connect video to the outcomes that they already cared about. And that's where the conversation shifts naturally into, here's how I can help you solve this. So the doctor frame is what lets you lead with results. It stops you from being an expendable service provider and starts positioning you as a strategic partner. So here's the mindset shift. Your next call, it isn't a sales call, it's a diagnostic. Go in like a doctor, not a vendor. Ask better questions, listen harder, and only prescribe once you truly understand the full picture. Lesson 3 is that referrals feel safe, but they're a trap. And when I first started my company, I was almost completely dependent on referrals. And I'll admit, like referrals, they feel great. They're warm, they're easy to close, and they make you feel like your reputation is what's carrying you. But here's the dark side that nobody talks about. Referrals also keep you stuck. They're unpredictable, and they dry up without warning. And worst of all, they give you little to no control over who your clients are. So in my early days, I ended up working with nightmare clients. No good at all, but not because I wanted to, but because those were the people that were just showing up. Those were the referrals that were coming in. And even worse, leaning on referrals stopped me from developing the skills I actually needed. I wasn't building good lead generation systems, and I wasn't sharpening my sales process, and I wasn't even building good case studies that aligned with the kind of work that I wanted to be doing and the direction I wanted to take my business in. That's why in this project I made a strict rule, which is no leaning on existing leads, no waiting around for referrals. Everything had to come from proactive outreach and intentional conversations. And that's why in just 2 weeks, I've generated 8 leads, booked 6 meetings, and not through luck, but building a system and putting the necessary pieces in place. And I'm putting in the reps. So the difference between before and now is night and day, and I'm no longer just taking whatever comes my way. I'm targeting clients that I actually want to work with in the niche that I've chosen. And this is what allows you to move up and work with higher caliber clients. When you control your pipeline, you can be selective and you can create case studies that position you for the next level. So hear this clearly. Referrals may get you started, but they won't get you to premium. To level up, you need your own pipeline. You need to get good at outreach, and you need to take control of who you work with. So those are the 3 principles that helped me land a $25,000 case study project in less than 2 weeks, which is lead with results, not video, use the doctor frame, and position yourself as a trusted advisor, and then stop relying on referrals and build your own lead flow. Together, they form the foundation of moving from videographer to video strategist, and this project is proof of just how powerful they are. In just 2 weeks, starting from zero, I booked 6 meetings, gained insights from high-level decision makers, and closed my first $25K deal, not by luck, not by referrals, but by applying these principles. And the best part is that this is just the beginning. So looking back 10 years, difference is night and day. Back then, I didn't have a niche, I didn't have a strategy. I was just waiting for the phone to ring, taking whatever project came my way, and then scrambling when referrals dried up. And if someone said, we need a video and our budget is $2,000, I'd take it, no questions asked. I thought that was the game. Say yes, hustle, and stay busy. But I wasn't really building a business. I was freelancing under a different name. Fast forward to now, and the shift is clear. It's not about skills with a camera. Those haven't really changed all that much. It's not about luck or connections. The shift has been thinking and operating like a strategist. Now, today, I'm intentional about who I speak to. I run every conversation with the doctor frame, diagnosing before prescribing, and instead of relying on referrals, I'm building my own pipeline so I get to choose the clients that I want to work with. That's why, just 2 weeks into this project, I've already turned a research call into a $25K case study. Not because I'm smarter, not because I got lucky, but because I stopped thinking like a videographer and started operating like a strategist. And here's the truth. This project isn't just about me. I could have done all this behind closed doors, but I've seen too many talented creatives stuck in the same cycle, being underpaid, overworked, and second-guessing their every move. That's why I'm doing this in public, because I want to raise the standard of what a video business can be, to show you that you can win premium clients without case studies, without referrals, and without luck. if you approach it with the right mindset and the right strategy. This isn't about building my agency, it's about proving what's possible for yours. In the next video, I'll break down exactly how I structured that 25K project, what I said, how I positioned it, and how you can create case studies that not only get you paid, but set you up for long-term partnerships. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. And if you found it valuable, then please share it with someone else you know who's trying to build a business at the moment. That's how we keep it interesting. That's how we keep growing it and help more people escape the freelance trap. I'll see you in the next video.